We're standing on the edge of a tract of land which was clear cut under the supervision of Keiker, a forester from Waynesboro, North Carolina. The land belongs to Robert L McMillan and his extended family. Some 94 acres of scrub longleaf pine and bobwhite pine and scrub oak were clear cut under the supervision of Mr. Keiker, and with the intent to replant the whole place in longleaf pine seedlings. And as you can see from looking forward, it looks like the end of the world has come because nothing is apparently alive. But in the ground here you see small longleaf pine seedlings that were hand planted, and in a few years they will be up waist high, and then later on there'll be a beautiful grove of longleaf pine. Longleaf pine is the original growth tree for this terrain, the sandhill section of East North Carolina. This white sand that we see, that we're standing on, is obviously a sand dune from an ancient sea. All around us is flat land with this ridge of sand that extends several miles up and down this section of Scotland County, lying just to the west of Lumber River, and to the east of a series of bays, Carolina bays, beginning with what is called Cousin Willie's Bay, Cousin Willie Johnson, Cousin Willie's Bay, the Goose Pond, the Round Bay, and the Long Bay, all paralleling this stretch of sand to the west of this stretch of sand, and those bays drain into the Lumber River some distance farther down. And Duncan will now take over and tell us a little more about what took place under Mr. Keiker's supervision, since he was in close contact with Mr. Keiker. I will add this, from a mercenary standpoint, I was very happy that with the clear cutting of the land, there was just about enough money received from the clear cutting of the standing timber to take care of the planting and the clearing and the planting of the longleaf pine. So it's pretty well an even Steven deal financially, and someday there'll be a beautiful grove of longleaf pine here which will be occupied by black squirrels, bears, and sundry rare woodpeckers and other animals that are native to longleaf pine forests. So Duncan, you might add.
Just to put it in perspective, today is May 15th of 2017. These pine trees were planted in December of 2016. So people looking at this in the future, they'll be able to gauge the rate of growth. When they were planted in December, every one of them was brown, but now you see with the spring, green growth shooting up from most of them, but plenty of them die in the planting process.
Here's one that got left out.
Yeah, and another, you'll find a number that were just dropped and discarded. But also, I'm going to correct something he said. This sand ridge is actually the southeastern rim of one of the Carolina bays he was talking about, the Goose Pond, which is right back over there.
I stand corrected. That is correct. It's not a sand dune. It's a ledge of sand that was forced up
by whatever created the Carolina bays, and which is a subject of great mystery. But at any rate, the four bays here, Cousin Willie's Bay, the Goose Pond, the Round Bay, and the Long Bay. The Long Bay being one that runs into the river. Its name, obviously it's long, and it runs into and feeds the Lumber River just a little bit southeast of where we're standing right now.
Just as a matter of information, this project was not done in the mercenary reason. This project was done because of the family interest in preserving a longleaf pine forest, and ultimately perhaps this whole area will be turned over to some nature conservancy program, which will keep it as a long-range pine forest in perpetuity. And we'll see how that does. But we didn't actually have any financial cost because it evened out, but we don't anticipate receiving any financial benefit from this anytime for the foreseeable future.
I'll point out too, for the younger members of the family, I believe that what are the 40 acres of arable land down there on the road? Is that?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, more or less 40 acres of cropland, which is leased out this year to grow in corn, soybeans, and then have a winter cover crop. But his Aunt Nita, who left him this place when she passed away, told him, Robert, please don't ever plant pine trees in these fields, because it broke my heart to watch my papa pull those stumps out after he cleared that land to make the farmland. So we got pine trees up here and farmland down below.
And she wanted to make sure we didn't plant pine trees on the farmland, because her papa was a middle-aged and older man still pulling fat pine stumps from the ground with dynamite and an ox.
Oh, and his back. So two things I wanted to mention. This sand formation is related to the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. So it comes all down the east coast of the United States. But one thing I thought would be good for you to do, Daddy, is to orient to the farm, because you can see the shed back there, which is up the hill behind the farm. And so
behind that grove of trees you see there is the open farmland. And that grove of trees is lining a drainage ditch. And it was not suitable to plant longleaf pine there, so they just left the scrub growth there.
But there used to be a little dirt road through the through the farm up that you could come up from the roadside, which you'll probably see in a little while, to get to the little houses up here, and that shack remaining, a shed behind one of the houses that used to be up here in the woods. But there were a lot of shacks up here.
There were
Who lived
four
in here?
tenant houses.
Yeah.
Walter Johnson lived in one, Frank McNeil lived in another, and there were two that we passed coming in from Hogsmith Road.
I saw
that are now fallen down.
They were occupied by sharecroppers
Okay.
who tended the farmland. Now the reason the longleaf pine was denuded from this area for so long, of course you know the history of the turpentine and tar in North Carolina, then it moved down south to Georgia and Florida. But even later, this land, these ridgelands were pretty well denuded because the sharecroppers who lived in these homes along this ridge cut the trees to heat their homes.
Oh, wow. And you worked on the farm in the summertime.
I did a little work, I did more playing. But I did work one summer, 40 cents a day, plowing a mule from dark to dark. A grown man received $1 a day, and young African-American boys my age and older received 50 cents a day for plowing. Now, I received 40 cents a day because I took 2 hours at lunch. I needed more time after lunch than they did, but it's hard to imagine. And of course, some of the young black youth who were plowing with me were receiving nothing because they were plowing
for their parents.
Yeah. I received $40 cents a week.
Day.
A day, 40 cents a day, and which was pretty good pay. I mean, it was not good pay, but I didn't have anything to spend money on. I was living with my aunts, and they were feeding me, and I was enjoying life, swimming in the river and fishing and boating. And once in a while, maybe twice a month, we'd go to Lawrenceburg, and maybe once a week we'd go to Wagram, spend a little money. But I had plenty of money at 40 cents a day. That summer, though, my family took me to the New York World's Fair. This is summer 1939, I believe. And we went down to a restaurant, and I ordered fried chicken and Maryland peas, or something like that. And a little container of peas cost 35 cents.
Wow.
And I just blew my top. The idea I had plowed for a whole day
For just
a
those
little pot of
peas.
peas like that.
When you got much better peas at lunch when you took your 2-hour break. Nita and Kate and Fanny fixed.
Why do this?
Why do this?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the desire of the family. The family's talked about it for years. To preserve for posterity a longleaf pine forest. That's why I do it. But we won't get any money out of it.
Right.
And I'll never see it.
Right.
But
It's just to preserve what was originally here.
Duncan and your mother will see it when it's
Fledgling.
pretty nice.
Uh-huh.
You'll see it in all of its glory
Right.
and in perpetuity.
And to give some context, some of the longleaf pine trees around the cottage are ones that we planted. So we would come up here and plant trees, and then we would have some of the seedlings and plant them around the cottage. Well, around there where there's more pine straw and more water, they've grown up to be really substantial trees. And the same thing, some of the trees in Papa's yard.
Yeah.
And
In Raleigh.
I'll mention this too. The cottage is built in what is called the old field. Up until 1880, that was all farmland all through there.
Right.
And obviously, the old field hasn't been farmed since 1880. And he took down 2 pine trees in the yard that had pine boards in them in 2010, 7 years ago. And they were 130 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
So right when they quit farming it, the trees
The
came
whole
along.
field looks like a virgin forest. It's not a virgin forest. It's a forest that has gone
That's
back
137 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, you say, why do we do it? We do it for that reason. So that in the future, there will be a beautiful longleaf pine forest here, no matter what's done elsewhere around here.
Right.
We know this will be here for the people of those days to enjoy.
Because this land is owned by other people, and they can do whatever they want to do.
Going now to another tract of land, which is owned by an organization called the Riverton LLC, and it's composed of about 400 acres of land, some of which is forest land, some of which is farmland. And before Roy McMillan died, he supervised the planting of about 12 or 15 acres of longleaf pine along the highway. And the reason we bought the Riverton LLC got together and bought that land was there was a movement afoot to buy that farm and turn it into a chicken farm. We didn't want to do that, so we bought it. We also wanted to be sure that we had access to the river,
Right.
and there was some question about whether the landing that we enjoy would be available in perpetuity, and it now is, fortunately, thanks to the good efforts of several people in the family, including L McMillan. And we've got access to the river in the Riverton LLC property if we need to use it.
If we need to.
So let's go down and look at that side. It will be held in perpetuity. Nobody's making any money on it.
Only just support
And,
itself.
and it's not for sale. But, yeah, Ruth Blackwood, is it Ruth or Hill's Blackwood? Her husband, Ruth
Chapman. Oh, no.
Chapman.
Roger.
Anyway, one of the Blackwood in-laws, Kenzie, and he's a good businessman, and he keeps up with it. And, they harvest a little timber, and they get the rent from the land, so they got enough money to pay for taxes.
That way we won't have a chicken farm here.
Bill's Landing is just past the sea of water.
Yes.
Yep.
Is there anything still there?
The river comes out the road.
Oh, so you bought that too?
Yes.
Everything,
So that's the river
everything you
access.
see here,
Okay.
the river to the
Tim in the car, we used to paddle down and sometimes float down from the landing past Charles's and all the way down here to McMillan's Landing.
Okay.
So you can get the boats out there and take them back. Another memory I have of this space is when Livingston Johnson would be flying up to meet his family.
Yeah.
He would come here and buzz this field,
Yeah.
and so he would come. So he had a little plane, and he would come through Riverton, and you'd hear it, and then come out, and then Billy would drive down here. We'd all be piled in the car, and he'd be buzzing around here. We'd know for sure it was Livingston.
Is
So
it doing slips?
He was a
Yeah,
doctor.
just-
He was a doctor for
just
Shelby, and his family would be down here all summer. But he would come over the weekend.
He'd fly?
Yep, and so then we would go over to the little landing strip and pick up Livingston. And somehow this turn has a, for some reason I remember it particularly here, but it probably is because this is where he buzzes.
Yeah.
This is pretty land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good looking soil too.
This is a little bit richer than
Mm-hmm.
our soil.
uh-huh.
A little more clay in it.
Yep.
And more nutrient dense, I think, right? Like,
Well, and the whole moisture better,
oh, okay.
because the sand just lets the moisture leach through.
Right.
Okay,